I just got off a call with my bro and we were discussing on how we were going to scale the business past 1 mil, right? And that made me think of a time when I was thinking about how I was going to scale my business to 10K. And I still remember a time when I was thinking of how can I make $5,000 a month, right? And this led me to the biggest discovery in the entire world. It's all about alignment. Now, what do I mean by that, right? So you always have to be operating from the version of yourself who's already done it. So you have to ask yourself, how does the version of me making $1 million operate? How does the version of me making $50,000 a month operate? How does the version of me making $10,000 a month operate? So what I mean by that is the same actions that you take day by day for when you're making $500 a month will be different than 10K, will be different than 1 mil, will be different from 500K because your priorities are different, right? You have to ask yourself, is outreach and outbound going to get me to 50K? Or is content going to get me to 50K? Or is a streamlined, automated backend system, delivery system going to get me to 50K? Because if you're still stuck in the backend and doing delivery, you won't have time for content because those are high leverage assets that's going to get you to 100, 200, 500 plus K. Even if you run ads, if you run ads to a shitty content asset, it's not going to convert. Look, I had a team call today. So I get on calls with my entire team. I call it the Empire Realignment call, right? And every month, at the start of the month, me and my entire backend team, everyone who's doing delivery in my team, we get on a call and we just talk to each other, right? And one thing I realized about that call is those types of calls are the highest leverage for me because I build team culture. But I realized that I have to automate 50% of it because if they are not able to operate without me, then the team will not scale to 100K. So the way that I started thinking at 500, at 1K, at 10K, at 20K, 50K now, and now mils is just my prioritization and my priorities for the day. That's pretty much it. You just have to change what you prioritize day by day by day. So if you want to be operating as a 50K a month operator, if you want to be operating as a 50K a month agency owner, business owner, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it, you have to understand that your priorities will be different. You have to ask yourself, what does that version of me who's making 50K a month do? And you have to ask it logically, right? You have to ask yourself, if I wanted to scale my outbound to making 100K a month, how many SMSs, how many calls, how many appointments, how many closes would I need to do per month? What's my close rate? What percentage of calls booked actually show up? And out of those shows up, how many of them are good fit and how many of them do I actually close, right? And the only way you increase that volume is the start volume, the input, which is the outreach, right? Now, if you want to scale your calling team to booking you thousands of appointments a month, then how many callers do you need? Right now, how many of those callers can you train personally, right? And as you hire more people, you dilute yourself. What I mean by that is if you're able to train a caller at 100% and you bring on a sales manager or a team manager or a team leader or someone who's going to train these callers now, they're only going to be able to train them to 80% of the capacity that you could, or 90, but they're never going to be you. So it's going to be constantly diluted. So if you have a team of 1,000 fucking callers, is that actually going to be profitable? And is that actually going to get you to your goal? Now think about the callers. What system are they using? How many phone numbers will you need? How much will you spend per day? Now, is that eating into profits? Is that revenue? How much margins do you want to run on? Now, how does delivery look like? Are you building out done for you funnels for every fucking person you work with? If so, if you have 100 clients, does that mean you're building out 100 fucking funnels a month? If you're doing that, how many fucking funnel designers do you need? Do you need 5, 10, 20? Who's going to handle them? Who's going to train them? So there's a lot that goes into it. So the first thing is you actually got to ask yourself, what type of business do I want to run? And before you ask yourself that, you got to ask yourself, what type of life do you want to live? Do you want to live a life where you're constantly on calls every fucking day, training people, talking to clients, building out done for you shit, commanding your team? Or are you commanding only the heads of your team, the head of ops, the head of sales, the head of this, the head of that? Or you want to run a coaching business. So you have to understand that the version of you that's currently at 50K, at 20K, is not going to be the version of you that's at 100K. And I don't just mean this by mindset woo-woo jargon. What I mean by this is, what are the actions that they're taking day by day? Are they spending more time in content? Are they spending more time tracking finances? Are they investing in softwares like ClickUp, where they can have everything centralized in one place, that they can click one button, they can open that shit up and they can see exactly where everything is going? I have one fucking screen which shows me every single piece of data that I need. My close rate, my IG inbounds, my story reply rates, my click-through rates on my YouTube video, Instagram video, everything is here. My media buyer doing all the fucking stats for every single one of my clients in one single place. I open up one place connected to AI and I just ask myself, how's the business doing? Boom, 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 boom. I get all the data, right? Because that's how I operate. I'm not going through fucking 4 different drives and 5 different links looking at everything. No, bro. I'm just on one page where I can see my entire front end and my back end. How long did that take me to build? Weeks. Because there is no pre-built shit like that in the market. And you best believe I'm not giving this shit to anyone either, bro. So this is what it is, because Your version of 100K is completely different than somebody else's version of 100K. What got someone to 100K is not going to get you to 100K, but the one thing that is similar that's going to get that person and you and everyone else to 100K is focus and priorities. You need to prioritize the thing that you know that you'll be doing more of at that level and do it now. And that's where faith comes in. That's where doubt comes in. Is it going to work? Is it actually going to happen? It hasn't worked yet. When is it going to work? You leave the when and the how to God, right? To the universe. And you just do what you can do right now is by operating from that version of yourself right now in this reality, right? That's the only thing. So look, if I could go back in time and tell my 10K self, 20K self something, I'd just tell him like, look, just focus on the big goal and let everything else rearrange itself, right? Of course you need cash flow. Make sure you have cash flow. Make sure you don't spend like an idiot. Like I'm going to go spend like 10, 20 grand in China and fucking Japan in a few days, in a few weeks, right? Actually, I'm going to meet someone there as well. So you need to have cash flow to do them, to do shit like that. I'm going to go make content, right? I'm going to go network, but you need cash flow for stuff like that. But you also need a bigger vision, a bigger goal, a bigger thing you're striving towards, a mil, 10 mil. How am I going to get to 10 mil is the question I ask myself. And I know exactly how the fuck I'm going to do it. Do you? Probably not, because you're not even thinking about 100K. Because if you were, then you probably wouldn't need this video, right? So you need to operate at a version of yourself that's actually already done what you want to do. So what I mean by that is ask yourself, the version of me making 100K a month, what is he doing? Who's in his network? If you don't have anyone in your network doing 100K, then go buy it, bro. Spend some fucking money. Spend some money to get people inside your network. That's how you fucking level up, man. I spend a lot of my money on just my network because that's how, I know that's the cheat code, because they have sauce that none of these YouTube videos can teach you. They'll give you personalized sauce, dude. And one little piece of sauce will take you so much further than any YouTube video ever can. So I hope this video has been of help. I just wanted to rant a little bit. I like the view and I haven't made a video in a while, but look, always operate from the version of yourself that's already made it, because that way you'll know the exact blueprint and then work backwards from that. I visualize every single day. I visualize twice a day. I even have affirmation tapes that I run with 936 hertz playing in the background that I just fucking sleep to, right? Because that's how you program your fucking theta waves in your brain, right? So there's a lot that you got to do apart from the work itself, because the mindset is the work itself as well. Clarity is work, right? Discipline is work. Motivation is work. You can't be motivated all the time, because work begins when motivation leaves. That's when discipline begins. And that's when ideas form. That's when creative geniuses form, right? Like this video was super unplanned, man. I was just here doing some market research and I was like, fuck, I gotta make a video. So now I'm doing it. Did I know I was gonna make it here in the setting? No, I was like, fuck, you know, I was sitting here like this, writing shit down on my computer, and I'm like, fuck, what if I just set up a camera and do a video? Now this is gonna be a content asset that might help a few of you. That might be that little spark that you needed, right? And always remember, this is what's important for me, right? The 100K version, 100K, 200K, 1 mil, 10 mil version of me, right? What does his relationships look like? What's his relationship with his family? What's his relationship with his girl? How does he handle women? How does he handle conflict in the business? How does he handle conflict between clients? What does he address first when he hops on a client check-in call? There's a lot of things to it, right? You have to go deeper and deeper and deeper. What watch does he wear, right? What cologne does he like? What type of shoes does he wear? If he's spending the whole day at home, does he still dress up? Fuck yeah, I do. I spend most of my days at home just fucking working, but I still dress to impress, because who's there to impress? Myself, right? Because I'm operating from a version of myself that already exists within the quantum realm, which is... Anyways, we don't want to get too deep into that. But if you want to know more, just message me on Instagram, right? And yeah, mindset is a huge thing. You know, one of our mentees recently just scaled past 25K and we didn't do any work on his delivery or his systems. All we did, when I say we, because I work with a business partner, all we did was hop on a call with him and fix his mindset. And he had blocks with women. The blocks that he had with women were holding him back in his business. We just addressed those blocks and he scaled his fucking business because he was leaking focus and energy with women. Right? So this is why mindset is so important, because once you get to 10 to 20K a month, you know how to make money, bro. You know how to make money online. What's next is just the way you think about money, the way you think about other things that affect you, because your business is a reflection of your internal reality, because your external is a reflection of your internal reality, right? And everything internal is your relationships with yourself, with your partner. Who is the person you spend the most fucking amount of time and emotional bond with? Is the girl that you're with, or the guy, right? If you're gay, I'm just kidding. But like, look, is the person that you spend the most time with. So how they affect you a lot. Your parents. Well, how's your relationship with your mom and your dad? that's going to affect your business. There's a lot of things to it, right? Because once you scale to 10 to 20K, we know that you know how to make money. So we know that you don't need systems. Of course, we have pre-built fucking systems and KPIs that you should track, right? Take it. But what's most important is not the system. It's this system. It's the way you think, your beliefs, your patterns, your thoughts. Thought constantly repeated becomes an action. Actions repeated become a habit. Habits repeated become your destiny, bro. It all starts with thought. And some thoughts are so deep rooted that you don't even question them. And those are the fucking thoughts that you need to question. Those are the thoughts. Those are the barriers that I break within myself every fucking day. Every week, I shatter my old version of myself. Metania, right? Look that shit up. And it's unbelievable. Palingenesis, Metania, Ananke. These words only come to me once I've undergone certain metamorphosis, right? So look, I'm not gonna, there was another word that I learned yesterday, which is a really fucking good word. I kind of forgot the word, not gonna lie. Wait, I'm just gonna find the word because it's a very important word. Apotheosis. The moment a man rises to a higher plane of being, not by effort, not by breakthrough, but by becoming. It literally means to wake up as the elevated version of yourself that you've been chasing. Not striving, not climbing, not fighting, just arriving there. So it's not the breakthrough, it's the becoming itself. Waking up and realizing, fuck, the version I've been trying to reach for months is just me right now. That's effortless scaling. And that you can only do that by rewiring your thoughts and rewiring your subconscious mind. Right? Systems are important. How to run an ad is important. How to fucking train a setter is important. How to deliver for clients is important. How to reduce churn is important. But you already know how to do all this by now, but you still can't fucking scale. Why? It's your mind, right? So until you crack that fucking code, you will never, ever, ever be able to scale to 100K. Because the only thing holding you back, if you're watching this video and you're the person that I'm speaking to right now, the only thing holding you fucking back is your mind, the way you think, and the beliefs that you don't even fucking question. I'm gonna leave you with one little thing. Delegate your thinking. The highest form of delegation is your ability to delegate your thinking. Ask yourself, is there anyone in my team who I can delegate my thinking to? If you don't have anyone in that team, you're not building a big container. You're not building a business that's gonna run without you. You're building a business that's attached to you and it's gonna cripple you at the end. Trust me on that. Can you delegate your thinking? If you can, great. If you cannot, you got some shit to do. Anyways, if you wanna speak to me one-on-one, book in a call below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.